I want to introduce you to an idea that is simple but powerful beyond belief. An idea that, if understood and acted out, can change the way you see the world. Anxiety becomes excitement. Boredom becomes engagement. But I cannot do it without introducing the inspiring story of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl survived 4 concentration camps. He survived tremendous torture and the pain of losing his mother, father, brother and wife to the malevolence of the camps. Other prisoners around him dropped death every single day from starvation, disease, or the evil end of the guards. How did he cope with his hell? To answer this question, a powerful quote by Nietzsche comes in handy. He who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist, and because of his profession, he started noticing psychological patterns that predicted survival in the camps. And he soon realized there were 2 types of prisoners. Those who lost faith, meaning and hope, and those who didn't. They saw the situation as a challenge to overcome, and they had a why to survive and live for another day. This actually became Dr. Frankl's personal why. He wanted to share with the world his findings once freed from the camps, and his ability to find meaning in such a dire situation saved his life. He realized that suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds a meaning. Look, the world is living an existential crisis. It's screaming the need for meaning. You are not alone when you find yourself trapped in apathy, boredom, lack of initiative and interest. You are not alone when you feel anxious, depressed and frustrated with life. Or better, we are not alone. I've been through it myself to the point that I couldn't enjoy anything, whether it was a beautiful sunset or time spent with family. I knew that something was missing. I felt it. And in my personal search for meaning, I stumbled across a book, The Power of Meaning, The True Route to Happiness by Emily Esfahani Smith. If happiness is not the key, then what should we strive for? In the book, the author brings different examples of people who went through very stressful and difficult moments in their lives. There is very little pleasure and satisfactions in most of those stories. However, those people managed to rise, learn, and improve from their struggles. In particular, she noticed that meaning required 4 pillars to be in place, and tried to see if you could spot the common denominators among them. Number 1 is belonging. We all need to feel understood, recognized, and affirmed by our family members, our friends, and romantic partners. We all need to give and receive affections, and we all need to find our tribe. Not only you want frequent pleasant interaction with people, but also relationship based on mutual care, where people think you matter and treat you like you matter. The second pillar is purpose, and purpose relates to a vision, a set of goals that are clear and big enough to push yourself through difficult times and keeps your mind focused and away from distractions. However, it's something that goes above and beyond yourself. It pushes away selfish behaviors. According to William Demon, a developmental psychologist at Stanford, purpose has 2 important dimensions. The first one is that purpose is a stable and far-reaching goal, a goal towards we are always working. It's the forward-pointing arrow that motivates our behavior and serves as an organizing principle for our lives. And the second one is simply that purpose involves a contribution to the world. And now we get to the third pillar, which is transcendence. Transcendence relates to the dissolution of the boundaries of the body. It allows you to see yourself as part of the universe, rather than a single, distinct entity. According to psychologist David Yaden of the University of Pennsylvania, during transcendent states, something remarkable happens. First, your sense of self washes away with all the petty concerns and desires. Then, you feel deeply connected to other people and everything else that exists in the world. The result is that your anxieties about existence and death evaporate, and your life seems for a moment to make sense. And this leaves you with a feeling of peace and well-being. You probably notice a common denominators with the 3 pillars. They require a shift in focus, a shift toward a picture bigger than yourself. A picture that can stop any unnecessary selfish behavior and give meaning to life. A meaning supported by contribution. Finally, I want to introduce the fourth pillar with a powerful story. In an example given in his book, Man's Search for a Meaning, Viktor Frankl described an heartbroken man unable to cope with the death of his wife. So Frankl asked him, what would have happened if you had died first and your wife would have had to survive you? Oh, replied the patient, for her this would have been terrible. How she would have suffered. To which Frankl responded, you see, such a suffering has been spared her, and you are the one who spared the suffering to her. But now you have to pay for it by surviving her and mourning her. That's right, storytelling is the fourth pillar. This is one of the greatest contributions of psychology and psychotherapy. The idea that you can edit, revise and interpret the stories about your life, even as they're constrained by the facts. The psychotherapist's job, for example, is often to work with patients to rewrite their stories in a more positive way. It's a great opportunity to review what might have been and see different scenarios. Next time, try to focus on the positive you took from the situation and finally move on. Because those stories must protect the inner citadel. Let me take a page from the book The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. The Stoics give us a marvelous concept, the inner citadel. It is this fortress that they believed protects our soul. Though we might be physically vulnerable, though we might be at the mercy of fate in many ways, our inner domain is impenetrable. As Marcus Aurelius put it, staff cannot touch the soul. But history teaches us that impenetrable fortresses can still be breached if betrayed from the inside. The citizens inside the walls, if they fall prey to fear, avarice or greed, they can open the gates and let the enemy in. This is what many of us do when we lose our nerve and give in to fear and other negative emotions. You have been granted a strong fortress. Don't betray it. And finally, remember that you're much more resilient than you think. Life can be painful and filled with suffering, but you already possess all the tools that you need to face obstacles and adversities. Prisoners in the concentration camps show us that. They taught us how strong we can be. They couldn't rely on customized diets or exercise plans. Quite the opposite. Their body was stripped of any freedom, but not their minds and souls. And some prisoners could find meaning and hope in hell. And if they could do it, you can too. Don't let their suffering go in vain. Remember, you're strong beyond imagination. So protect your inner citadel at all costs and contribute your way to a meaningful life.